snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to do some reviews of some graphic novels that I haven't yet reviewed on my channel and that I've read recently. So let's get started. I've got 4 to talk to you about. 2 of them are from the same series and we'll dive straight in. The first one I have to talk to you about is Bitch Planet, which is by DeConnick, Delandro, Wilson, Peter and Cowles, and this one is what I hoped would be something amazing but really didn't work for me. This is a story that's kind of sci-fi-esque. It's about this prison and it's set in space where these women get sent to this sort of federal space prison for being out of line. It doesn't really matter what they do, but they can basically be sent to this prison for anything. And the planet that they are on has kind of colloquially been named Bitch Planet. That is the nickname that everyone gives to it because it's all of these women who are being sort of locked away and kept there, and we basically follow the story of a couple of the women who are there and we see them acclimatise to what is going on there and also get some of the politics of the world, or the universe I suppose, because it's different planets. I mean, this one had some really interesting ideas. It's quite feminism heavy, it's quite about like lady power and that sort of thing, which I definitely approve of and I really liked. But for some reason this just did not work for me as a story. It didn't make me feel anything really. It was just boring and annoying and I didn't really connect with anyone and I didn't like the art style. So overall it wasn't great. The art style is like this, as you guys can see. It's quite comic book classic in style. There's a lot of nudity in this one as well, by the way. Lot of nudity, which I didn't feel was that necessary, but each to their own. We basically follow all of these different people. We see people talking about the prison and we see people within the prison. We see people who manage it and people who are actually inmates there. I just didn't think this worked for me. It just let me down in terms of plot and pacing and image. I didn't like any of it really, so this was just a bit of a failure for me. I just gave it 2 stars. It was okay. It was readable, but that was it. I won't be continuing on with this series, sadly, because it just didn't work for me, and for whatever reason, I'm not interested in continuing it. It just didn't grip me, didn't draw me in, and I don't want to spend money on graphic novels if they're not, like, really hooking me, and this one really wasn't, so sadly, not going to be continuing with this, which is sad because I do really like Kelly DeConnick's Pretty Deadly series, which I have also started reading fairly recently, so yeah, unfortunately this one didn't work though. Let me know your thoughts because I think this gets quite mixed reactions, so do let me know if you've read this one. Moving on to Alex and Ada, which is by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughan, and this is volume number 2 and volume number 3. This is the end of the series. There's only 3 volumes out in this series, which is quite sad because I feel like there was so much potential for them to go on and explore these ideas in so much more depth. I felt like the first one was really, really good. I think I gave it a 4.5. And then the second one I gave a 4.5 as well, and the third one I gave a 4 because I still really liked it but I didn't love it. These 2 were really, really good continuations of the story. The artwork inside of them is exactly the same as before, very kind of neutral colours, lots of repeated panels with small changes and quite heavy on the type, which means that you get a fair amount of story in this, and I really, really liked that because it's not often that you see quite as much type as this, and it meant that we were really getting quite immersed in it alongside all the pictures. I really liked the first 2, and the third one I really liked as well. Like, I enjoyed them all. The only issue I had was that I felt like it should have been longer, and I really wish it had been. I don't know if it was shortened because it wasn't selling enough or because the author and artist had to potentially go on to something else. I'm not entirely sure why. I do wish that it had been longer because it's about these 2 people. One of them is a robot who has sentience and the other one is a human, and they are called Alex and Ada. They end up, of course, falling in love, and it's about the idea of sentience in robots and whether they can be sentient, whether we should respect that they are sentient or not, and how they would adapt to the world were they sentient, and things like that. And I really, really think it's an interesting discussion. It really could have been dragged out so much more than it was and been explored a lot more, but unfortunately it wasn't, so I could only give these a 4 and a 4.5, but I did really like them, and I would still recommend that you guys pick up and read the series. Just be prepared that it does end a little bit more abrupt and soon than you would like, perhaps. And then finally for this video, the last one I'm going to be talking about is Supreme Blue Rose, which is by Warren Ellis and Chula Latay. I picked this one up because I had seen Chula Latay's work when she worked on The Wicked and the Divine, this issue that she did, and I loved her style of artwork. I'd never heard of Warren Ellis before, but I had seen her artwork, and that was the main thing that made me want to pick this up, because I'm sure you will all agree she can do stunning artwork, and that is continued throughout the entirety of this book. It is so, so beautiful the whole way through. Very sketchy. If you don't like sketchy, you probably won't like it. It's quite loose, it's got a lot of colours, lots of neons, lots of vibrance, and oh, it's so beautiful. It's about this lady, and she's in this world, and she kind of discovers that maybe she's not in the only world that there is. There might be parallel worlds, and there's sort of weird sci-fi themes to it. This is the only one in the series. It's a standalone. I kind of wish it had been longer, because I wish, again, that there had been more to the story. I think there was a great potential for more, but unfortunately at the moment there isn't another one. I kind of wish there was. Definitely enjoyed seeing the artwork in this the most. That was the highlight for me. The story is confusing, it is weird. If you don't like things like Pretty Deadly, you probably won't like this, because I think this is a bit more confusing than Pretty Deadly potentially, especially if you don't know anything about sci-fi. The idea of like parallel dimensions and the way that it works in this story can be a bit confusing to wrap your head around, but if you do like the sound of that, then this is highly worth checking out. It's so gorgeous, so beautiful, and so filled with colour and life, and so many weird and wonderful things. I just adored this. I could not put it down once I started reading it, and of course I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It was fabulous, really enjoyable, and I'm so glad that I have this little postcard that came with my copy, and it's got her signature down at the bottom, Chula Latay, so really, really happy about that, and yeah. Wonderful, wonderful graphic novel. Definitely pick it up if it sounds like it would appeal to you. Those are all of the ones I'm going to be talking about in this video. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought if you have. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again soon in another video. Bye! Me and you